The sun rose gently over Las Vegas, calm and innocent, as if the city had forgotten every bad decision it ever hosted. Phil, Stu, Alan, and Doug arrived once again, older but not wiser. They were here for a tech conference Doug insisted would be boring. No weddings, no bachelor parties, and absolutely no drinking, so they promised. Alan grinned in a way that suggested lies were already in motion. Stu felt uneasy, like the universe was stretching before another punch. Vegas, however, was already sharpening its knives. That night, the boys checked into a luxury hotel overlooking the Strip. Phil suggested one drink, just one, to celebrate surviving adulthood. Doug hesitated, but eventually raised his glass with a nervous smile. Alan ordered something glowing, smoking, and deeply illegal looking. Stu reminded everyone he had early meetings and zero patience. They toasted to friendship, maturity, and responsibility. Somewhere between sip 1 and sip 2, the lights blurred. Morning arrived like a crime scene with no witnesses. They woke up in a penthouse that was definitely not theirs. A live tiger slept peacefully in the bathroom bathtub. Phil had a police badge taped to his chest with duct tape. Stu was missing an eyebrow, and possibly his dignity. Alan wore a gold cape and hummed the national anthem backwards. Doug was gone, along with all their phones and wallets. Written on the wall in lipstick were the words, "Find him." No one remembers a single thing. Panic hit faster than a Vegas slot machine payout. Phil tried calling Doug, but the phone rang from inside a blender. Stu screamed when he noticed his reflection for the first time. Alan calmly fed the tiger shrimp from the minibar. Security began pounding on the door, asking about the noise. The boys escaped through a service elevator in bathrobes. Outside, the Strip looked unfamiliar, like it judged them personally. They realized this wasn't just another bad night. It was worse. Clues slowly began revealing themselves like cruel jokes. A receipt showed they had rented a monster truck at 3 a.m. Another receipt listed private Elvis wedding ceremony, non-refundable. Phil discovered a video of himself leading a parade of strangers. Stu found a tattoo on his arm reading "Property of Sheila." Alan carried a baby carrier, but thankfully no baby inside. Doug's conference badge was found in a pawn shop window. Every clue led them deeper into chaos. Their first stop was a rundown casino far from the Strip lights. A manager recognized them immediately and looked furious. Apparently, they had won a fortune and lost it all in minutes. Phil remembered shouting something about probability curves. Stu remembered crying over a roulette wheel. Alan remembered nothing but felt emotionally fulfilled. The manager said Doug left with a mysterious woman. She was described as dangerous and very awake. The trail led them to an underground poker club. Here, silence screamed louder than music ever could. They learned Doug had joined a high-stakes game. The buy-in was money they didn't have. Doug apparently bet something far worse, his freedom. Phil tried to bluff his way out and failed instantly. Stu accidentally insulted a man with diamond teeth. Alan made friends by offering cheese snacks. Segment 8. To escape, they agreed to complete a bizarre favor. They had to retrieve a stolen parrot with criminal knowledge. The parrot was last seen with a retired magician. This magician now lived in a desert trailer surrounded by traps. Phil questioned his life choices for the 100th time. Stu muttered prayers he didn't fully believe in. Alan clapped excitedly, calling it a quest. The desert waited patiently for their mistakes. Segment 9. The magician's trailer looked abandoned, but very alive. Traps exploded glitter instead of shrapnel. The parrot mocked them using Phil's own voice. Stu screamed when the bird revealed bank passwords. The magician appeared wearing a cape and zero shame. A chaotic negotiation unfolded involving magic, threats, and snacks. They escaped with the parrot and mild emotional trauma. Vegas was slowly unraveling them. Segment 10. Back in the city, the parrot led them to a luxury yacht. The yacht belonged to Sheila, the woman from Stu's tattoo. Sheila was calm, charming, and terrifyingly intelligent. Doug was alive, but working as her assistant. Sheila revealed they'd agreed to help her expose a casino scam. In return, Doug would walk free. Phil tried negotiating, Sheila laughed. They were officially part of something illegal again. The plan involved disguises, stolen key cards, and timing. Alan was somehow put in charge of surveillance. Stu had to impersonate a high roller despite shaking hands. Phil played the smooth talker as always. Doug whispered apologies through clenched teeth. The casino buzzed with tension and neon lights. Every step felt like walking on loaded dice. Failure meant prison, or worse, embarrassment. The heist immediately began falling apart. Alan lost the cameras and found a Chuo stand instead. Stu accidentally triggered an alarm by sweating excessively. Phil improvised with a speech about loyalty and poker ethics. Security closed in faster than expected. Doug tackled a guard with surprising effectiveness. Sheila watched from afar, amused but alert. Chaos reclaimed its throne. A wild chase erupted through the casino floor. Slot machines screamed like they were alive. The tiger from earlier somehow appeared again. No one questioned how or why. Tourists filmed everything, assuming it was performance art. Stu slid across a blackjack table, screaming apologies. Alan rode the tiger for exactly 3 seconds. The night became legend. They escaped into the parking structure, barely breathing. Sheila admitted she underestimated their incompetence. However, the scam was exposed during the chaos. The casino shut down amid sirens and shouting. Doug was finally free from the deal. Sheila vanished without saying goodbye. The parrot flew away, screaming secrets into the night. Silence followed at last. Morning returned with cruel brightness. They sat on the curb, bruised and exhausted. Phil laughed first because of course he did. Stu vowed, again, to never come back to Vegas. Alan hugged everyone, emotional and sticky. Doug thanked them, genuinely this time. They checked their wallets, miraculously intact. Maybe they'd survived. Back at the hotel, the staff pretended nothing happened. Their original room was untouched, mocking them. A package waited at the front desk. Inside was a USB drive labeled Memories. They hesitated, knowing better. Alan pressed play immediately. The screen exploded with insanity. Regret was instant. The footage revealed even worse moments. They'd started a flash mob in a courthouse. Stu sang power ballads to strangers. Phil gave a motivational speech to inmates. Alan declared himself Vegas mayor. Doug danced with Sheila on the yacht. The tiger wore sunglasses at one point. No one spoke afterward. The friends sat quietly, absorbing the madness. This time felt different, heavier, more final. They weren't young idiots anymore. They were experienced idiots. Vegas had taken its toll. Stu finally laughed at his missing eyebrow. Phil raised an imaginary glass. Alan nodded solemnly. They agreed this was the last time. No more Vegas. No more promises broken by neon lights. Friendship didn't require disasters anymore. They'd earned peace, maybe. The strip glittered outside the window. It looked almost disappointed. Almost. At the airport, normal life waited patiently. Doug hugged everyone tightly. Stu wore a hat pulled low. Phil looked proud somehow. Alan waved at strangers like a celebrity. Their flight was boarding. They walked away together. Older, scarred, still brothers.